This map highlights the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway connecting the Gulf to the open ocean. Right now, it's operating like a maritime parking lot. Due to the war, Iran closed the strait entirely, trapping roughly 2,000 merchant ships in the bottleneck. You can see the immediate global ripple effect on this gas station sign. Because 20% of the world's oil and natural gas passes through that corridor, choking off the supply has sent fuel prices surging to almost $7 a gallon. On the water, the situation is becoming desperate. There are an estimated 20,000 civilian sailors stranded on those trapped ships. These are neutral crews caught in the crossfire, and as their supplies dwindle, concerns about their physical and mental health are growing by the day. The blockade continues even as the United States and Iran observe a temporary ceasefire. That pause in hostilities started on April 8th, giving both sides a window to negotiate a permanent peace plan. But that fragile pause is about to be tested. The United States has announced Project Freedom, a massive, active military operation designed to break the logjam and escort those thousands of trapped merchant ships out of the strait. President Donald Trump framed the operation publicly as a pure humanitarian gesture. He noted that countries from around the world have been asking the U.S. to help free these innocent bystanders, and warned that any interference with the rescue will be dealt with forcefully. Iran's military immediately countered. They warned that they will attack any foreign forces attempting to enter the strait, explicitly naming the aggressive U.S. Army, and stated that any interference would be treated as a direct violation of the ceasefire. So, to save 20,000 neutral sailors, the U.S. is launching a mission that Iran views as an act of war. The very operation designed to relieve the pressure in the strait is now the exact trigger that could blow up the peace talks entirely. Looking at this image of an F-18 launching from a carrier deck, you get a sense of the overwhelming firepower behind Project Freedom. The U.S. Central Command is deploying 15,000 service personnel, guided missile destroyers, and more than 100 aircraft to enforce the operation. But as you can see in this image of armed Iranian personnel patrolling the waters, Tehran is highly capable of asymmetric pushback. In fact, Iranian state media reported that their military is already actively, physically preventing American and Israeli destroyers from crossing into the strait. The environment is incredibly volatile. Just recently, the UK reported that an unknown projectile struck one of their tankers in the area, a stark reminder that the waters are already active. This is a two-sided economic stranglehold. While Iran blocks the strait, the U.S. military is simultaneously enforcing its own blockade on Iranian ports, even intercepting merchant ships like the container ship Tosca on their way to dock. You have two heavily armed forces layered on top of each other, each enforcing their own chokeholds. In this kind of kinetic trap, a single miscalculated warning shot or aggressive patrol boat maneuver guarantees an immediate regional escalation. While destroyers face off on the water, there is an entirely different battle happening behind closed doors. Both sides are engaged in secretive, back-channel negotiations to outline what a permanent peace might actually look like. This side-by-side graphic maps out the competing proposals. Washington put forward a 9-point plan, with the central pillar being a proposed 2-month extension of the current ceasefire. Tehran countered with a 14-point plan of their own. They are demanding a total withdrawal of U.S. forces from their borders, an immediate end to the naval blockade on their ports, and a strict 30-day deadline to reach a final agreement. The hardest friction point is nuclear capability. Washington is demanding immediate nuclear negotiations. Iran flatly refuses to include that in the peace deal, maintaining that their near-weapons-grade uranium program is strictly for peaceful purposes. To keep these talks from collapsing entirely, both sides are using intermediaries. For instance, the U.S. recently handed over 22 Iranian crew members captured from a seized ship last month, repatriating them through Pakistan as a deliberate diplomatic olive branch. But these diplomatic maneuvers are completely tethered to the physical standoff in the water. Until an agreement is signed, those 20,000 trapped sailors are functioning as unwitting leverage in a geopolitical staring contest. Right now, the lines of communication are razor-thin. Tehran is currently reviewing the latest U.S. response, which again had to be delivered quietly through Pakistani intermediaries. Publicly, President Trump has been highly dismissive of Iran's terms. He explicitly stated that he can't imagine their proposal being acceptable, claiming Iran hasn't yet paid a big enough price for their actions. He also issued a direct ultimatum. When asked if military strikes inside Iranian territory could resume during this rescue operation, he confirmed it remains a distinct possibility if Iranian forces misbehave. Looking at the officials gathered beneath the U.S. Central Command sign, the message is clear. The military apparatus is digging in. The president asserted that American forces are not leaving, intending to settle the conflict now so they don't return in 2 to 5 years. That leaves absolutely zero margin for error. The stability of the global energy market and the lives of 20,000 stranded civilians now rely entirely on a massive military maneuver operating under the banner of a peaceful rescue. Project Freedom forces an immediate conclusion. As American ships push forward to clear the logjam, Iran will have to decide whether to hold their fire and accept a peace treaty, or enforce their red line and pull the entire Gulf back into war.